Well, hello there. Welcome to part two of networking in an event-driven town. This is actually a workshop that I do in person before all the social distancing happened of 2020, and it usually took about an hour, depending on audience participation. And so I've done a first video which talked about identifying referral sources and centers of influence. And, in that we talked about a person's mission, and I had discussed where my mission was to transform lives with the power of connections. And we talked about finding target markets and identifying referral sources and centers of influence. And I used the example of a realtor. And so today, what I want to talk about is networking organizations and the different commandments. And what I don't want you to do is mistake attending events for involvement. Just because we're seen at every event around town does not mean that we know how to network or even where to network. I hear a lot of people say, there are so many events happening, I don't even know where to begin. And that is even happening more now that we are in this lockdown with COVID-19. And there's a lot of Zoom events happening and a lot of online events happening and Facebook Lives, and there's all kinds of Facebook groups and LinkedIn groups, and where in the world do you go? And it can be really, really overwhelming. So what I want to do in this part two is just help you identify what types of organizations are out there. Who are you getting business from? Who are you referring business to? How do you identify who is serving those particular clients and colleagues in terms of events? There's all kinds of associations and organizations that are geared towards helping you connect with your target markets, your centers of influence, referral partners, etc. And then once you've identified those organizations, how do you treat those? There are certain commandments that you have to follow. There's certain rules that you have to follow, so to speak, in order to be really successful in those particular settings. So what I want to talk about is when it comes to referral organizations or networking organizations, um, I work with a company called the Referrals Group, and we suggest uh, that you get in 3 to 5 different ones. And you got to identify which ones those are going to be. So in order to do that, who are they? What is their purpose? What is their mission? And once you've identified those 3 to 5, then be all in. Don't be halfway, because if you're halfway, that means you're not fully committed. And it's really, really hard to be a part of something where you're just halfway committed. It just doesn't work. So let's go ahead and look at the different organization types. Okay, and there's several different ones. So the first one is exclusive. They are invitation only referral groups. And so, for example, it's going to be the Referrals Group, which I'm a part of. There's also one of the oldest, actually the first referral group ever in the history of the US that I can find was back in 1978, a group called LaTip. And they are the ones that set the standard for all of us to follow. Then in 1985, BNI hit the scene, which stands for Business Networking International. They are the largest organization in the world. I was actually with them for 10 years and got stellar networking training from them. They have some of the best training in the industry. And then you have other things like Power Core, Tips Club, Master Networks, us, of course, the Referrals Group. So what I would encourage you to do when it comes to these exclusive invitation only referral groups is really consider who they are, what their focus is, what their fees are. All of them will be charging some sort of a fee. You're probably going to pay an annual fee, because here's the thing: when you go into open settings, you're one of 10 or more in your industry. These exclusive invitation only groups allow you to be the only person in your industry represented. And then you have a group of people where they're the only person represented in their industry. So it kind of locks out your competition in that particular setting. It allows you to talk about your business and some challenges, and you kind of feel safe in that environment. It should allow some sort of a mastermind time, an education time, really learning about each other's business, and allow you to pass referrals in a setting that you can trust these referral partners with. It's one of the best ways to grow your business very, very quickly. So, and then depending on which organization you're in, you may already have grown your business, but now you need a group of people that you can really just hunker down and go to the next level of your business. The next group are your civic groups or philanthropic. So these are going to be like Kiwanis, Rotary, Urban League, Junior League, the PTA, the NRA, and the list goes on. You can just Google civic groups and you'll find tons of them that will fit your interests. The next one are masterminds. Now, these masterminds range anywhere from small, maybe women's only mastermind groups that are free of charge once a month for a couple hours, all the way to the large mastermind groups with like Dean Graziosi and Matt Larson. They're real estate moguls. They're going to charge you $100,000 a year to be in their group. Okay. Then you got like high performance, like Brendan Burchard. He's recognized by Forbes and Oprah. You've got Genius Network with Joe Polish. He's a marketing guru. Russell Brunson, known for ClickFunnels. He has got an inner circle. And so people are in those types of groups can drop tens of thousands of dollars to be inside these masterminds. But they grow their business. So if you don't have tens of thousands of dollars to drop, you might want to consider an invitation only group where the fees are pretty nominal compared to that. We're talking anywhere from $500 to $700 a year. So that's much more manageable. Then you get into your nonprofits and charities, and that's going to be like your chambers of commerce, charities like the Red Cross. Chambers of commerce are always good to be involved in. You do want to be a part of that because that allows you to build your brand. It lets you get involved in your community. People start recognizing you and your name. Of course, remember you're going to be one of 100 real estate agents that are probably members or 100 CPAs. So it's not about having any exclusive relationships. It's more of a broad relationship there. In terms of your free networking groups, these are going to be various groups that probably you were invited to come to the hotel lobbies to do these networking events. Restaurants host these all the time. Of course, now we've moved into, there's lots of Zoom parties going on and Facebook group, live parties and all that. Skype has got some options. So these are groups where you don't have to pay anything usually to get in, maybe a little cover charge, maybe pay for food, something like that. But again, you're not limited to one person per profession. You could be one of 5 in the room, so keep that in mind. And then, of course, you have your social groups, and that's going to be anything from photography, bike riding, rowing, canoeing, hiking. What's your thing? What do you enjoy doing? Go hang out. Go find a group and hang out and get to know people. We've got an insurance agent in one of our referral groups that gets about 15 to 20% of his business. He does tailgate parties, and he invites 70 to 80 people. They all look forward to it, and 15 to 20% of his business comes from that. So what could you do to create a group around your normal interests? The last one is your online groups, and that's really where it's at right now. So you've got Facebook, and you've got LinkedIn, Alignable, there's Instagram and TikTok and all these things. Now, don't confuse all of those applications with quote unquote groups, but there is a great way to get involved so that you have a following Okay, so that's a completely different workshop, not for this one, but and I couldn't even teach you how to use Instagram, so I would refer you to someone that knows how to do that, but they're absolutely lucrative and worth your time. So once you have identified all the different types of networking groups that are available and which ones are going to suit you and your personality, the time that you have to put in that, the type of business that you work, you're going to want to observe some business networking commandments. And Zig Ziglar says it best. He actually has one of the most generous spirits. He's a brilliant connector, and the commandments that we talk about are designed to help you form those deep relationships with people because you're genuinely interested in their success above your own. What he tells us is you can get everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. So you're looking for groups that preach and practice reciprocity, basically. It's this giver's heart, this servant heart of what can I do to help my fellow member? That's in a closed group. And even carrying that attitude into the open groups. So I'm known as a connector. That's what people call me. I'm a connector. And a lot of you might be thinking, what is that? And I talked a little bit about it in my first video. You may want to go back and, learn the definition of that and what that means for me. But in a nutshell, it's really about who is the person in front of me and how can I connect them to the next person or resource that they need to help them take the next step in their journey. And if you just continue to do that over and over and over and over, it always comes back to you. So let's go ahead and look at some commandments for 3 different types of networking: the open networking, the closed networking, and then, of course, our online social networking. So with your open networking, this is where you're going to learn where best to spend your time and energy, because you're going to very quickly know if this is the setting for you or not. Now, I've been guilty of registering for events, even scheduling them on my calendar and then not showing up. And so what I discovered about myself is it boils down to I've spread myself too thin. And I've learned that if I'm not okay, I'm not an effective leader. And if I'm not good for you, then I'm also not going to be good for the people that I'm called to serve if I'm not okay, right? I can't be any good for them if I'm not okay. You have to resist burnout. So if you want to go visit all of them, go visit all of them. But when you walk in, know what you're walking into. So here's a few things that you can do to make sure that you're successful. You want to register and schedule like it's a business meeting. Put it on your calendar, and then develop some open-ended questions. Look to see who might be there. A lot of times they'll have a list, especially online now. You may see people that are registered and see who you really want to meet. Attend with a plan. Go in with the idea that you're going to meet 3 or 4 specific people. Don't try to meet everybody, okay? That's where most people make their mistake. They go and they pass their cards out to everybody. It's what we call the blackjack dealer of business cards, and you do not want to be that, okay? It's kind of an inside joke in the networking community. Never give your business card unless someone asks you for it. It's okay for you to ask, but you should not do that. You want to listen more than you talk. Ask those open-ended questions and then listen to their answer. Make sure you turn your phone off or on silent. And then if you go with someone, split up and mingle. You don't want to pair off and, go sit on the couch with your glass of wine and just talk to your friend. That defeats the whole purpose of networking. You want to sit with strangers and get to know them. And then don't sign people up for your newsletter. That's one of my cardinal sins. Is if I wanted to be on your list, I would ask to be on your list. If I hand you my business card, I'm giving you permission to contact me, not put me on a drip email campaign. So do not do that. And then don't assume a referral. Just because you met a couple people at a networking event does not mean that you have gained their trust or that you even know them. And so you should never assume a referral. When it comes to the closed networking, what you need to remember here is these referral groups are not leads groups. Okay, there's a difference. A lead is something that if you're driving down the road and you see a billboard for a HVAC company, for example, and then you call your friend and say, "Hey, I saw this new HVAC company in town. Here's the phone number. I saw the billboard." That's a lead. You don't know anyone over there. You have not gotten permission to connect them with your friend. You're just passing that number. So that is not a referral. A referral is where you know someone personally, you have told them about a colleague that could potentially do business with them or could be a client for them, and you have gotten permission to connect them. And then you make that connection. They're expecting each other's phone call, they're looking forward to it. That is a referral. And so, in order to make these types of group work, you've got to focus on giving. Again, remember what Zig Ziglar said: help enough people get what they want, you get what you want. And you got to show up and be on time. Most of the closed networking groups require regular attendance, and they range anywhere from weekly to bi-weekly to semi-monthly to monthly. So just depending on, what their rules are. But whatever group you join, show up and be on time. You also got to be specific when asking for referrals. You can't just say, "I'm looking for anybody or somebody," because nobody knows anybody or somebody. But they do know specifics. And, telling stories is really a great way to get referrals. And the story should include what the challenge was and how you met that challenge. So, and that allows people to start thinking through, who do I know that fits this scenario? And then stay off your phone. There's nothing worse than being inside of a group. You're sitting around a table, and somebody is on their phone constantly. They're not paying attention to the speakers. They're not paying attention to the meeting agenda. They're not participating. Why even be there? You paid money to be in this group, and now all you are is on your phone. So just turn your phone off and focus that hour to hour and a half of being fully present in that group. The other thing about these closed referral groups is that you should never prospect the members. Joining a referral organization is not about trying to get business from its members. Think about it. Most of the members that come into a group together, they already have established relationships. For example, I've been with my insurance agent for the last 10 years. Just because I go join another referral group does not mean that I'm going to stop my business with my current agent and give all my business to the insurance agent that's in that group. What a membership does is it allows me an opportunity to get to know this new agent. And then if he proves to be a man of his word, ethical, takes care of his clients, then I'm happy to refer him to my outer circle, and refer him to referral partners. So that is the goal. So never try to prospect a member. Now, does that mean that you'll never get business from? No, of course, members do business with members, but you should never go in with that goal. The other thing is to meet with members individually. And these are called one-to-ones or face-to-face meetings. Various groups call them different things, but essentially it's a dedicated hour where you're sitting with a member and you're really getting to know each other's business, and you're getting to know who they are and who their ideal clients are, who their ideal referral partners are. It's an opportunity to delve deeper than what you do inside of the actual meeting itself. And then the other thing is to give quality referrals. Again, go back to my definition of lead versus referral. I would take this a step further. I would look for organizations that don't have referral quotas. Referral quotas tend to water down the quality of referrals. I would look for organizations that focus on referral benchmarks, like what percentage of referrals should be closing. And those just do much better, in my opinion. Find organizations that are not numbers focused, but quality focused. And that goes for members too. Some organizations want to have lots of members, and I mean, that's great, but what's the quality? Okay. So be quality focused, not numbers focused. And the last thing to do with a closed networking group is to follow up. I know you've heard the fortunes and the follow up, and it's true. If you don't follow up with a referral, then why even have the referral? So, follow up is key. The last set of commandments is for your online social interactions that you're doing. So, be authentic, show up as your real self. It's interesting. We are a group that meets in person. And since this COVID-19 hit in 2020 and the social distancing rules came into effect, we can't meet in person anymore. So we've taken all of our groups online. And it's been very interesting because people are going to show up in their ball caps. You'll see a cat run across the room. You'll see a kid come over and sit in his parent's lap. Um, and you know what? We've said do it. It's important to just show up as your authentic self because you're not going to be dressed up all the time. And if your kid wants to know what you're doing with your work, introduce them to the group. We just think it's important to be very authentic. Now, does that mean that you should always dress down, never put makeup on, never do your hair? No, of course not. Show up depending on what type of setting it is. You want to show up to meet that expectation. But as a general rule, just be who you are. The other thing is for online, don't spam and don't sell. If someone connects with you online, it's okay to send a message to say, hey, thanks for connecting with me. I really appreciate that. And it's even okay to say, I'd be interested to learn more about your business if you'd be open to that. But you should never send them a link to your business, an offer, what you're selling. That is so inappropriate and uncalled for. It's like opening the door to the door-to-door salesperson uninvited. We don't appreciate it. You don't like those types of phone calls, unsolicited phone calls trying to sell you something. So don't do it online. Highly inappropriate. If you're doing it, stop. Please stop. Then limit your business promotion on your personal pages, especially Facebook. Facebook, of course, has algorithms. So you should really be focusing on just letting people know who you are. And you want to share a lot of personal stuff, and then you can throw a business post in there once in a while. But save your business promotions for your business page. And if you don't have a business page, you want to create one. Same thing with your Instagram accounts, same thing with YouTube. You know, do some research on that and find out what the experts say about posting and engaging people with business conversations online. The other thing too is to share information. So LinkedIn is a perfect place to share information. It's an opportunity to share your expertise and what you know. Write articles, find things that are interesting, and share things that are funny. People need comedy in their life. So it's all about just being open to sharing the knowledge that you have and promoting other people. Things like that. The other thing too is connection does not equal pitch. Again, it's kind of like the don't spam, don't sell. Just because someone connected with you online does not give you the right to pitch them. That's not fair, and don't be surprised if they unfriend you and block you if you do that. Paying attention to the chatter. So what that means is take some time, figure out when is everyone mostly online, and you can run your analytics, especially inside your Facebook. You can see, and I think Instagram, it'll show you the peak times that people are online. Go in and start talking. Get in some of these groups. Interact with people. Not every single comment, then you're going to be known as a troll. But find some interesting conversations and be willing to share a little bit and comment with people. Think of it as if you're sitting in a coffee shop with a group of friends and you're having conversation. Okay. Find that online and contribute to it. Then don't feel obligated just because someone, maybe you did have a business conversation and they told you that they were going to do a special workshop and they'd love for you to attend. Thank you. I appreciate that, but you're not obligated. Okay. If we were to respond to every invitation that we get, we would never, ever do anything outside of stay online. So do not feel obligated. The last thing is be approachable. Okay. If you're approachable, that means you're open to conversations. Don't shut people down. Now you want to be smart about it. You know, make sure that when you're getting these friend connections that they've been on Facebook a while, they don't have a bunch of pictures of just them on there or that looks fishy. You can usually tell, um, who's legit and who's not. And if someone messages you and begins asking you for money or to meet you somewhere for a date and all, just shut it down immediately. This is business, and so you absolutely can feel like you can shut all that down. Um, so last, if you'd like a full list of commandments, these are just kind of the highlights. You can visit my blog at gingerterrell.com, and you can see there at the bottom of the screen that website. You can select the business category, and then you'll see an article about it with a link to all 59 commandments. And then this is my contact information. Should you have any questions about how to network, how to identify organizations, how to choose some of that stuff, I'm more than happy to schedule some time with you, um, and have a conversation, outside of this. So I hope that this has been helpful, and stay tuned for webinar 3 of 4. And I hope that you have a great day. Again, thank you for your time.